As we've seen repeatedly over the last few months, when the Trump administration is confronted with facts that don't support their agenda, they try to discredit the sources of those facts. And right now, they're using that same strategy on health care. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Of course, since basically the beginning of his campaign, Trump has tried to undermine the press as a source of information. In fact, even when he's making small talk with world leaders, he can't help but make sarcastic comments about the media. On Tuesday, he held a photo op in the Oval Office with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and it was super awkward.
Very nice people. We hope so.
Are you guys in the White House or on a terrible first date? Do you always wear that thing on your head? I do. Do you always wear that thing on your head? Of course, Trump dislikes the media because they often report basic facts that challenge his worldview. For the same reason, his administration now dislikes the Congressional Budget Office, which released a damning report on the Republican health care plan on Monday that projected the bill would cause a stunning 24 million Americans to lose coverage. Now, that might seem like a disaster, but House Speaker Paul Ryan actually tried to spin it as a positive, prompting skepticism even from straight-laced Fox News anchor Bret Baier.
If you read this entire report, I'm pretty encouraged by it. I'm excited about this analysis, and I'm really actually frankly encouraged.
Mr. Speaker, if you're encouraged by this CBO report, what's a CBO report you're discouraged by?
That's the closest Bret Baier has ever come to saying, "Bye, Felicia." Also, Paul Ryan, you're encouraged that 24 million people will be thrown off their insurance? Is that really the word you want to use, or are you thinking of a different E word?
Excellent.
There it is. So how can Paul Ryan say he's encouraged by this report? Well, he makes several misleading claims. For example, Ryan says the report confirms that the bill will lower premiums, which is technically true, but only for young, healthy people. Older people would see their premiums skyrocket. In fact, the CBO report finds that the average 64-year-old earning $26,500 would see their premiums go up from $1,700 to $14,600 a year. So get ready to start running into your grandpa working at Subway. When I was a kid, 12-inch Italians weren't even allowed in the country. So Paul Ryan has chosen the strategy of trying to make the CBO report sound positive. And what about Trump and his surrogates? They're just saying we shouldn't believe the CBO at all. Like CNN commentator and Trump supporter Jeffrey Lord, who tried to discredit the CBO report by making an analogy that didn't quite hold up.
We don't know what the weather's going to be. It's going to snow, but how much? I mean, we don't know. We don't trust weathermen, you know, so why should we trust the CBO?
All right, first of all, the reason we don't trust weathermen is because they have names like Dallas Rains or Storm Tornado. And second of all, in this analogy, if the CBO is the weatherman, then that makes Donald Trump this kid.
Dew points in the 20s and near 30 degrees across central Mississippi. Well, hey there.
I don't know what's going on, but Zane doesn't know. Are you sure? Are you crazy sure?
Well, we've got a little bit of interesting things going on right now. Take a look at what's going on right now. You want to point out the weather right now?
Yeah, there are farts everywhere and toots. It's crazy.
You can laugh. You can laugh, but Donald Trump just made that kid Secretary of Weather. And then yesterday, White House spokesman / hostage Sean Spicer also tried to discredit the CBO report. Spicer tried to claim that the new GOP bill was only the first part of a 3-part health care plan, meaning the CBO's report was inaccurate because it didn't take into account future legislation that doesn't exist yet. And he kept using one word in particular.
The comprehensive nature of the 3-prong plan in prongs 2 and 3. Doing the first prong of this, on first prong alone, prong 1 of 3 prongs. But the second prong of this, so prong 2 is actually fairly easy to do. The third prong, this piece of this prong only, without looking at prong 2 and 3.
Wait, is prong Sean Spicer's safe word and he forgot to tell everyone? Prong, you guys, prong. I'm going to go back to the Oval Office, but prong? Of course, as usual, Trump is doing a complete 180 here because he used to love the Congressional Budget Office when it suited his needs, tweeting about the CBO at least 13 times to criticize Obama. The only constant in all of this is that Trump likes something if it agrees with him, and he hates it if it doesn't. Take, for example, the monthly jobs report. Trump famously used to call the unemployment rate phony, but now that he's president, he's bragging about the jobs numbers. So how does the White House explain the flip-flop? Sean Spicer had this to say last week.
I talked to the president prior to this, and he said, to quote him very clearly, "They may have been phony in the past, but it's very real now."
Oh, my God. We're so pronged. Even when Trump makes a claim in his own words, like when he accused President Obama of wiretapping him, we can't be sure if we're supposed to actually take him literally. Remember, Trump tweeted, "Terrible, just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower, and President Obama was tapping my phones in October." And yet when Spicer was asked if Trump had any proof that Trump was indeed wiretapped, Spicer responded with this.
He doesn't really think that President Obama went up and tapped his phone personally. The president used the word wiretap in quotes to mean broadly surveillance and other activities.
Because what is wiretap if not a cool slang term that means a bunch of different things? Like, we should wiretap Somali, or I want to wiretap dat ass. Now today, the Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who would know if there was any evidence of wiretapping, was asked if he had provided any such evidence to the president, and he seemed flustered.
Did you ever have a chance to brief the president on investigations related to the campaigns, or did you ever give him any reason to believe that he was wiretapped by the previous administration?
Look, the answer is no.
Well, you better get that man some sweet tea and a porch to sit on, because he is sweating more than a gator in a boot store. So Trump's own Attorney General couldn't give us any evidence. Then there was the Republican overseeing the investigation in the House, Devin Nunes, who offered a similar argument to Spicer, claiming Obama didn't personally go to Trump Tower and put in a wiretap.
We don't have any evidence that that took place. I don't think there was an actual tap of Trump Tower. President Obama wouldn't physically go over and wiretap Trump Tower, so now you have to decide, as I mentioned to you last week, are you going to take the tweets literally? And if you are, then clearly the president was wrong.
Stop telling us Obama didn't physically go to Trump Tower. Nobody thought that. Hello. I'm here. I'm here from AT&T. So sometimes Trump is pro-CBO, other times he's anti-CBO. Sometimes he says the jobs numbers are phony, other times he says they're real. Sometimes he says things in quotes, other times he really means them. But one thing we do know is we can't believe his promises on health care, like when he promised during the campaign that he wouldn't let people suffer as president, using one favorite phrase over and over again.
I said, nobody's going to be dying on the street if I'm president.
I will not let people die on the streets if I'm president.
People are not going to die in the middle of the street. Right. People are not going to die on the sidewalk.
You're not going to let people die sitting in the middle of a street.
Why does he think people are walking out to the middle of the street to die? Must make it to street. Sit down in middle of street and die with dignity. So Trump made huge promises on health care that he clearly had no intention of keeping. His bill would cut Medicare and kick millions off insurance. If it passes, we're all going to need a safe word.
Prong, 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 prong.
Prong, 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 prong. That's been a closer look.